Hello everyone and welcome to today's review of the T-64A. It is the currently quite a well sought after tier 5 premium and main battle tank. Not many people have them and it's due to be quite rare when you compare it to other limited release premium tanks like the Chieftain Mark 6 Leader and the BWP Puma. The T-64A in real life was actually the more well-known development of the T-64. The T-64 was created as a much better choice compared to the T-62. Where do we have it? Do I have a T-62? There we go. To the T-62, and they both carried the same gun. It also had, if it is here in Armoured Warfare, it also has steel and fiberglass composite, which was the first composite armour and provided superior protection to sheep charge rounds like anti-tank missiles and heat rounds. Because in the late 1950s and the early 1960s, it was seen that heat rounds would be able to penetrate armour very, very, very heavily. So no armour, well, when using things like steel, the general thought was that armour wouldn't be able to provide protection of them. So of course there were different projects in the West like the Leopards, which had very little armour and were made to fight at standoff ranges. The Chieftains, which had a hell of a lot of armour, especially on the turret, but were fat and slow. The Russians then found out that you could use composites, which provided superior heat protection, and thus the T-64A series was born. They were supposed to have a 4-man crew, but due to the much lower size of the tank, and it was very, very, very sparse interior, it eventually had an autoloader as well. Then, this also runs directly parallel with the T-62 as well. The reason why the T-62 has a 115mm gun is because originally the T-54, T-55A's 100mm gun wasn't able to penetrate the latest generation of NATO tanks at normal combat ranges, such as the M60A3, the Chieftain, etc, etc, etc. So, when the T-62 is being developed, with its much larger gun, much larger tanks, some less armour, it was found that the 100mm gun on the T-55A had ended up, they managed to develop a new shell for it with exactly or more penetration. So now, what was the point of the T-62? So the Russians thought to themselves, well, we can't have our latest MBT, the T-64, this thing here, having the same firepower as the T-55. It needs to be more powerful, otherwise what's the point of having it? So they came up with the 125mm gun, as shown on the T-64 here. The T-64 was, like I said, originally produced 155mm gun, well, 115mm gun, but later, a few years down the line, the Russians came up with the T-64A, which had the 125mm. Please note that A does not stand for Alpha. This is how the Russians designate things, just like NATO does. M60, M60A3. Chieftain Mark 5. We can keep going down the line. We have Stingray, Stingray 2. BMD, BMD4, Leopard 2, Leopard 2A5, M1, M1A2, M1A2. M1A1, M1A2, M1A1 Heavy Common, M1A1 Heavy Armour, all the way down the line. So this is a much different tank. The T-64A not only had a better gun, but also a few years down the line than that, it had much improved sights, optics and stuff. But in the end it was seen as a very, 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 very expensive tank, which eventually led to the development of the T-72. The T-72 was built as a more easily produced model. You see, this was the great flaw in the Soviet Union's plan. They didn't want any of the Warsaw Pact countries, in my view, to be able to produce most of the stuff themselves, so they had to produce the stuff for them, leading to, in the end, a very overstretched and economy that didn't grow well, because they were too heavily built on heavy industry. The T-64A in Armoured Warfare has... Actually, let's not go that way. Let's go what happened. So the T-64s were viewed as elite army, well, as elite units, probably sent to guard divisions and stuff. These were intended as the breakout units into Europe, so these would be the guys leading the charge, while the T-72s would, while seen as being cheaper, would eventually replace the T-64s because you can more easily produce them. The 125mm gun was chosen because, like I said, the Soviets couldn't produce, well, while they could produce very good quality shells, they wouldn't be able to outfit everyone. So in the end, bigger gun, better shell velocity, well, penetration. And while they ended up not being able to penetrate as much as the NATO tanks in the end, in the early stages, it went quite well. The T-64 went up to many models, and it still served in the Soviet Union for a good while. In fact, it's still in service with some tanks today. Sort of stuff like explosive reactive armor you see there, missiles, laser sights, night vision sights, etc, etc, etc. Eventually it would be replaced by the T-60, but the Russians, having a pretty amusing habit of producing so much stuff, meant that the T-64 was still in service, mainly with armies within the Soviet Union itself. The T-64A can be considered as the world's first true main battle tank, having speed, a powerful gun, the composite armour being able to deflect heat shells, and looking quite sexy while at it. So, the T-64A in Armoured Warfare at the moment is a limited release tank. There will be some on streams, there will be some given out. This I don't know. I would like to have some to be able to give out to people, but oh well. The tank isn't actually a true T-64A model. A true T-64A model would just have the 125mm gun. What we have here is kind of a cross between the T-64A and the BMBV with the explosive reactive armor. The explosive reactive armor covers about 80% of the whole sides there. Some parts of the lower glacis, most of the upper glacis, and quite a bit of the turret, meaning that this tank can and will laugh at anti-tank missiles flying at it. It's quite amusing when they do. It has possibly the best armour of any Tier 5 MBT, barring the WZ-122-44, but the WZ-122-44 has an extreme vulnerability to anti-tank missiles. The T-64A doesn't. This is shown in its armour profile, where it only has a 0.8 multiplied to hull thickness from AP, but a whopping 1.50 against shaped charges, meaning that while the turret, well, while the hull may be 212mm, not counting slope, shape charge, it's almost double that, with the turret having 426mm plus the ERA, meaning that most of the time missiles can't penetrate it. In comparison to the T-72, it has more armor, but it has a much weaker gun. However, some of the time this doesn't matter, as you are still able to quite kick people for quite a whopping amount of damage. However, that's where it ends. The T-64A has an 8.93 second reload time. This is with gyro stabs, a fully upgraded crew and everything. As such, the vehicle has quite a low DPM of, where is it? 2,713. The T-72A has 600 more. The M60A3 having some more as well. So this tank can only kill about 2 Tier 4 MBTs a minute, and about 1.5 of itself. My retrofit recommendations would be definitely a gyroscopic stabilizer. Without Freya, without the loader, well, the gunner aim speed, this tank has a 3.5 second reload, 3.5 second aim time, while with everything else, it has a 2.5. However, I believe this is the superior way, but if you wish to go for accuracy or damage, that's up to you. In comparison, the way to play this tank is kind of as a brawler, using your armor to get up close to the enemy, or, strangely enough, if you can get this thing hold down, it's quite difficult to defeat, even with missiles, as they will have to get through the ERA first. Play that accordingly. In the end, the T-64A, well, the T-64B is actually my favourite tank of all time for some reason, and so that having what is basically a T-64B makes my panties wet. I severely hope, I am hoping that everyone on the server will be able to get one, as it is a fantastic vehicle and definitely a collector's edition. So, anyway, let's have a look at some replays. This was the last game I played with my friends in Divine Intervention yesterday during my live stream. Amusingly enough, it seems that weekends on Armored Warfare, there's not that many people watching. I had up to 96. Well, I had 96 views in total for Friday, and 8 to 12 people watching constantly. But yesterday, I only had 1 to 3 constantly watching and 26 views. So, what goes there? My friend Varkan, we'll call him V, is in the T-72A, while Tal Maxim is in the ERC-90F4.
Driver, crank it.
I took a look. Okay, so take a look at this map. Can we actually get it up anymore?
Gunner, scan for target.
There we go. So initially, I wanted to go down there to hold down that bit, but seeing that there's 2 T-72s over there, a Chieftain, some T-64s, I thought I could actually power through that dam. And you know what? And I said to V, fuck it, let's go for it. Armored Warfare is not like World of Tanks. You need to be aggressive. You need to do the unexpected. And so I said in chat there, charging across fam, and I said to V, do you want to do something stupid? He was like, yeah. So let's do something stupid then. Also, my spelling is incredible. It's these kind of games that may often be seen as risky and stupid by some. There we go. And the T-64A is also slower as well. I kind of wanted to fire a shot, but now this was now or never for me. V was holding back to see if he could hit anyone, and I just went for it. Turned my turret there so the guys can't penetrate it. And this is a very, very, very low target. In the end, I don't think they'll be able to penetrate me at all. Crap. There's a swing fight and a T-72 in front of me, and a T-64 over there as well. So I go for the T-64. That T-72 now has to either come in this side, or is not going to be able to get here at all. And V charges across the dam and gets a swing fire. Now with that T-64 over there, I'm constantly jinking. I'm moving so he can't hit me. He has to penetrate my lower hull pretty well. I can penetrate his lower hull like butter. So I keep moving. The T-Series actually has that pretty amusing thing of the fact that they can't penetrate each other's... Well, you can penetrate that little driver's port, but most of the time the lower glacis is there. So a limited kind of hold down is not a good idea. And as shown by there, the moment I stopped, that T-64 was able to nail me. Now me and V, we've got a T-72 to deal with. We're both on low health and we can both be a one-shot for him. The only thing is that we've got 2 guns compared to 1. So we're putting that T-72 Ural under pressure, and I said to V, we just need to keep shooting him, buddy. And he was like, yeah. I think he shot his cupola there or something, or a high explosive round, I'm not sure, but we can keep hammering this guy. He has to aim at both of us, otherwise we can keep going for him. You see? We got him under pressure, and charging across that dam, their team has already lost a T-64 and a swing fire. Now they've lost one of their most powerful tanks as well. So at this point I've done 2,000 damage, and to be honest I've done my bit. Our team probably would have been able to win without me actually. But, you know, doing 2,000 damage, that's alright, 500 more damage in your hit points. Always strive to do at least your hit points in damage if you're an MBT. I always try for 1.5 times. So if you've got 2,000 hit points, try to do 3,000, etc, etc, etc. It's so that you can say that, hey, you carried your hit points in damage, you did well, alright? So, by now, I'm kind of wondering where to go. Initially I was thinking of capping, but maybe not. And I kind of want to get more kills. I want to shoot stuff. I like shooting stuff. At this point, V is just going to go for that Gosdiva over there. I'm not sure how to say that. Gosdiva? Vostiva? Grosdika? I'm not sure. Whatever, right? So at this point it's a 10 to 5, but the enemies, they can still kick ass quite a bit. They've got a full health chieftain, and while I do refer to the chieftain as a free kill, it kind of is compared to everything else. It can play correctly. It can still give you a run for its money. As shown by this chieftain over there. Now the T-64, I think it has less horsepower per ton than it did in real life because it seems to go quite slowly up hills. So it's a little bit slower than the T-72, but it makes up for that with armor. The thing it doesn't make up for is reload, however. stock with no retrofits or anything, or a commander, this vehicle can have a 9.5 second reload time. You heard me, 9.5 seconds. That's 3 seconds off an MBT-70, which hits like a truck. So at this point I was quite unsure what to do. The enemies are kicking us at the moment. Yeah, sure, we'll win, but how many can they take down? Their T-72 is dead. We've now got a half-health Chieftain, a one-shot T-64, a Bagel Panzer, and stuff, but we can do it. So we've got a Chieftain over there, and my mistake, I should have just not moved up and fired. But I was very greedy, and this Chieftain is going to have the biggest shot ever straight into my lower glacis. And 3, 2, 1, you see that? And he's going to hit me, no reason. Yep, there we go, right in the lower glacis. Right in the feels. And he blows off the ERA there. Okay. So anyway, the Chieftain's dead. I'm basically on 3,000 damage now. There's a Bagel Panzer, a T-64 and a Type 69 left. Hurt 69. Now their T-64 is going to die. And this guy, yep, ERA does nothing. It went smack into the ERA and just bounced complete. And the ERA just exploded and bounced it off. See? If this was any other vehicle, that would have gone through. That's why you picked the T-64A. And at this point, the game was basically over. We won. So, bit 5. Why did you just show me an average tier 5 MBT game? Well, 1, I sent the best replay over to my girlfriend, Fury the Tank Girl, for her T-64A review. But I wanted to show you that this tank, while it may be lacking in some respects, it's not the Chieftain Mark 6 compared to the Chieftain Mark 5. You can use it well. You can carry games. You can deal damage. You can penetrate things. It's a must-have and a must-buy, and I would encourage everyone who can to try and get their hands on one of these things, as it's definitely a collector's edition. As so far, it is the only true T-64 in the game. That's it. But in the end, watch what I do and just learn from it. How you play your tanks is up to you, not me. I'm only here giving you what I think of it. For one final thing, let's have a look at the vehicle stats. So, 8 seconds from 0 to 32 kilometers an hour. It has 1 universal and 1 mobility slot. It has some ERA, well, quite a lot of ERA actually. The gun, like I said, 3.6 second aim time and 10 second reload time. Yeah, it can be painful occasionally, but you can definitely put some hurt. Also, for bonus points, whenever an MBT-70 looks at you and uses heat instead of an AP round, laugh at him. I've had those guys shoot heat right at my lower glacis, and the ERA just eats it. It's quite amusing actually when you think about it. Anyway, I would like to wish everyone good luck out there, to take care, and to see you later. Bye for now.